This is a true fact about New Jersey, and it's one that still creeps out locals. Deep in the Pine Barrens, there's a place called Ong's Hat. It used to be a real village, a mill town with a few buildings, a tavern, and some farms. By the early 1900s, it was abandoned. The structures rotted, the roads disappeared. It became nothing but overgrown trails and legend. But here's the weird part. To this day, mail still gets addressed there. Every year, letters show up at sorting centers labeled Ong's Hat, New Jersey. Some are returned as undeliverable. Others vanish. One postal worker said he saw a bundle of letters go out, stamped and routed. Then the system just stopped tracking them. They were gone. Not marked delivered, not returned, just gone. In the 1980s, a strange theory surfaced. People claimed Ong's Hat was the site of an off-the-books scientific experiment, something about opening doorways to other dimensions. The researchers allegedly vanished. Now hikers report seeing lights in the trees. People hear whispers when they go off-trail. GPS units glitch. Compass needles spin, and the mail? Some say it's still being delivered. Others say it's being picked up. Either way, Ong's Hat isn't on the map anymore. But someone still lives there.
I worked maintenance at a 24-hour automatic car wash outside Newark. The kind where you stay in the car while it pulls you through the tunnel. It ran non-stop, but after 10 p.m., hardly anyone showed up, so I mostly just cleaned the bays and checked the rollers. My shift started at midnight. The system was all automated. If a car paid at the kiosk, the lights would turn green, the tunnel would activate, and the entry rollers would pull it through. I'd get a screen alert at the control panel. At 3:07 a.m., the green light on the entrance blinked on. Someone had paid. That was weird. There'd been no headlights on the lot. I didn't hear a car pull up, but the system showed a payment logged cash. No receipt printed. I walked out to look through the bay window, expecting to see a car halfway through the tunnel. Nothing, just water spraying. Brushes spinning, the usual humming. I waited at the exit, still nothing. 3 minutes passed, then 5. The system said the cycle was active, but no vehicle emerged. Finally, I shut it down manually and went in with my flashlight. The floor was soaked. The spinning brushes were slowing down. But the tunnel was empty. I walked the length of the track to make sure it wasn't a glitch. No car, no tracks, no wet tire marks past the halfway point. Just spray residue on the windows and the faint smell of hot rubber. Back at the control panel, I checked the payment log. Still showed a completed wash. Bay 1 paid in cash. The camera feed? It skipped from 3:06 to 3:09. No footage. I figured maybe someone paid, changed their mind, and reversed out. So I checked the entrance camera. It showed a car pulling in. Dark sedan, headlights off. That part played fine. But the moment it crossed the light sensors, the feed went black. Not glitched, just blank. Like someone cut the lens. The car never reappeared on the other end. I saved the clip to a USB and brought it to the manager. He told me not to worry about it. Probably just a driver who turned around mid-cycle, he said. But when I showed him the clip again, he got real quiet. Then he said something that made my skin crawl. That car, that's the same one from last March. I asked what he meant. He said another night guy quit after seeing a sedan go in and never come out. March 3rd. I checked the date of my clip. Also March 3rd, different year, same time, same tunnel, same car. I left early that night. When I got home, I pulled up the USB to show my roommate. But the file wouldn't open. It was there. Same file name, same size. But when I clicked it, just static, then one frame. Too fast to process. I paused it and dragged the playhead back. It showed the inside of the tunnel. Dark, still, and standing next to the brushes was a man. Soaking wet, eyes open, staring into the camera. I never went back. This was sent to me by someone named Eric. He drives delivery routes across the East Coast, but he swears this happened on the Jersey Turnpike, and he's never found that exit again. I've driven the New Jersey Turnpike 100 times. My job takes me from Philly to New York every few nights, so I know the exits, the signs, the stretches of dead road with nothing but tall trees and toll booths. This happened just before Christmas last year. I dropped a shipment in Newark and was heading south. It was close to midnight. Cold, clear sky, light traffic. I was trying to make good time when I realized I was low on gas. Normally, I'd wait for exit 8, hit the Wawa there, but around mile marker 79 I saw a blue services sign for a gas station I didn't recognize. Exit 10B. I'd never heard of a 10B. The sign was clean, new-looking, the kind they use when a station just opens. I figured it was a shortcut to a new chain or something. So I took it. No GPS signal. The ramp curved sharply down and merged onto a narrow 2-lane road lined with dead trees. No streetlights, no reflectors, just the beam of my headlights bouncing off wet blacktop. After a mile, I saw a lit-up gas station on the left. It had 4 pumps under an old-school canopy and a glass-front convenience store with a red "Open" sign buzzing in the window. The parking lot was full. Every spot taken, and every single car was turned off, but nobody was inside them. I pulled into the first open pump. Card reader was taped over. Nozzle was zip-tied, so I figured I'd go inside and prepay. As I walked toward the store, I passed the parked cars again. Noticed something weird. None of them had license plates, not one. Some had plate holders, some had screws, but no actual tags. Inside, the store was bright. Shelves fully stocked, coffee pots steaming. But the people, they weren't talking. There were about 7 of them, just standing near the back, facing the far wall, like they were watching something I couldn't see. The clerk behind the counter was staring straight ahead, not blinking. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "You guys open?" He didn't answer. He didn't move. I leaned over the counter a little. "I just need to fill up, can I?" Then he looked at me. Fast, no blink, no expression, just eye contact like I wasn't supposed to be there. That's when I noticed his hands were shaking under the counter, like he was trying not to move them. Behind me, I heard a car door shut, then another and another. I turned around, looked through the glass, and all the cars outside now had their headlights on. Engines off, no drivers, just headlights. The people in the store hadn't moved. Neither had the clerk. Then the lights in the store flickered, just once. And when they came back, and all the people were facing me, still not speaking, still not moving, but now looking right at me. I backed away. "Okay, forget it," I muttered and pushed the door open. The lot was silent. No wind, no cars passing, just the low hum of those headlights. I sprinted back to my truck, heart pounding, got in, locked the doors, floored it, back up the access road. No GPS, no signal, just the sound of tires on wet pavement. I reached the turnpike and merged back on like nothing had happened. No sign for exit 10B, nothing on the map. Next rest stop I hit, I asked the guy working there if he knew anything about it. He just looked at me. "There's no exit 10B, he said. "Never has been." I pulled up my GPS history. It skipped from mile marker 78 to 81. No route deviation, no time gap, but I lost a full gallon of gas. I don't remember the turnpike exit, but sometimes when I'm driving at night I pass parked cars with no plates and wonder if they're just waiting for someone else to take that same exit. This story was sent in by someone named Laura. She lived in a small duplex just outside of Montclair and says the reason she moved out wasn't the rent, it was what lived behind her bedroom wall. I rented the top floor of a 2-unit duplex in northern New Jersey while I was finishing my degree. It wasn't fancy, but it was quiet. Older place, probably built in the 50s, with creaky floors and paper-thin walls. The downstairs unit had been empty since I moved in. My landlord, Mrs. Drennan, said she was still looking for a long-term tenant. Worked fine for me. I liked the quiet, but about a month after I moved in, I started hearing tapping. It started on a Thursday night. I was lying in bed, scrolling my phone, when I heard 3 short knocks. Not on the front door, on the wall. The one between my bedroom and the empty unit. I paused my music, nothing. A few minutes later, tap, tap, tap. I figured maybe it was pipes settling or something. It's an old building. The next night it happened again, around 1 a.m., same spot, same pattern, 3 taps, then silence. Saturday night it changed. Instead of 3 knocks, I heard 1, then a pause, then 2 more. Almost like a response. It creeped me out enough that I knocked back. 1 knock, immediately, tap tap. I froze. Now I was wide awake. I got out of bed, walked to the wall, and knocked again, 2 times. Nothing. I waited about 30 seconds, then turned to leave. Tap tap tap. Like it was mimicking me, but behind the drywall. I went downstairs the next morning and checked the mailbox slots. The one labeled B still had a sticker over it that said vacant. I called Mrs. Drennan and asked if anyone had moved in. She laughed. No, dear, still empty. I'd have told you. I told her about the tapping. Old buildings make noise. Could be water pipes or mice in the walls. Sure. Except I don't know any mice that can copy knock patterns. A few nights later, I woke up to something new. Not just tapping, whispering. I couldn't make out the words, but it was low and close, like someone murmuring through the vents. I turned off my fan to listen. It stopped the second I did. That night, I slept with the light on. The next day, I ran into the mailman while leaving for class. I asked him if he ever saw anyone come in or out of the lower unit. Nope, he said. Always figured it was storage. Been years since I've delivered a name down there. Sunday night, I heard movement. Not just knocking. Shuffling, footsteps on the floor below mine, moving toward the stairs. Then silence. I texted a friend to come over and spend the night. She did, and I didn't hear anything while she was there. But the following night, it was back, and louder. The taps came around midnight. They were frantic. Not patterns, pounding. Desperate, like fists slamming the wall. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my phone, and called the landlord. She didn't pick up. I walked downstairs in my robe, shaking, and stood at the bottom step of the basement door. There was no light coming from under it, just quiet. I unlocked it and cracked it open. The air was stale, musty. It hadn't been opened in a while. I stepped onto the top stair and called out, "Hello?" No answer. I flipped the switch. A single bulb flickered to life below. The basement was empty. Concrete floor, a washing machine, a few boxes, and the locked door to Unit B. The door was closed, but not latched. I could see the bolt hanging, not turned in. I walked down slowly, heart pounding, and pressed my ear to the door. Nothing. I knocked, no response. I turned the handle and found it unlocked. Inside, the air was ice cold. There was no furniture, no lights on, just a mattress on the floor and a thick comforter pushed to one side. I stepped in. That's when I saw it. On the far wall, behind where my bed would be upstairs. Scratches. Dozens of little marks in the drywall, like someone had been tapping from inside. I ran out, locked the door, and didn't sleep the rest of the night. I moved out the following week. Mrs. Drennan seemed confused but didn't ask questions. A month later, I passed the house again on my way to a new place. Unit B had new curtains and a name on the mailbox. I looked it up later out of curiosity. The guy had been evicted 5 years ago for refusing to leave, but the landlord never changed the locks. She just assumed he was gone.